Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Trump and how his team now has access to the list of people who the government plans to have testify against him at trial. The discovery process in the Trump documents case, in the willful retention case, that has started. And Team Trump was provided with basically a whole lot of evidence right up front. And we're going to kind of go through the different little pieces of information that we can kind of pull out of this. First thing that I want to note is that we're all still guessing as to who flipped, who within Trump's circle is cooperating, who's really cut a deal, who's really going to testify against him, so on and so forth. We're all still guessing. As recently as yesterday on the channel, we were speculating about Mark Meadows. To me, that one seems kind of obvious, but we still don't actually know that. The reason I'm saying this is because the entire time that DOJ had sole control over this information, nobody knew anything. Nobody knew who was cooperating. This information has now been handed over to Team Trump. If suddenly there are a bunch of leaks, if there are a bunch of comments, if the right-wing commentators get their hands on a list of people that they feel have been disloyal, it seems like we should keep in mind that the entire time DOJ had sole control over that information, we didn't know anything. But now Team Trump has control of that information. They have access to that information. Now, they're not supposed to share it. We'll see how that works out. Okay, something else that we can kind of pull from this. This was fast. This was really fast. As far as having the information to turn over, having discovery ready at the level it apparently is, it's not just a list, it's testimony. It's a whole bunch of different things, recordings that Smith had ready. So what does that tell us? Tells us that he had all this put together when they indicted him. When Trump was indicted, Smith already had all of this stuff ready. This wasn't just pulled together recently. They were ready to start the discovery process immediately, which means they already had it pulled together to include the memos, everything. So that kind of tells us a little bit about, well, what's taking so long? Remember that? Whole lot of people, myself included, getting impatient. I have a whole lot of patience, but towards the end, even I was like, all right, I mean, this is kind of ironclad. I don't know what y'all are doing. This might account for a lot of that time. So what does that tell us about the perceived delays when it comes to the January 6th investigation? The same thing's probably playing out. If there are indictments to come from that investigation, my guess is they will be ready for discovery immediately then as well. So that might explain some of the delay up there, some of that perceived delay. Okay, so what's Trump going to do? That's the kind of the big question. I mean, there's little bits of information that we can pull out of this that can put other things in context. But what's he going to do now that he has access? Team Trump now knows who is going to testify against him. Now, going after these people, harassing them, leaking their names, all of this stuff, it's a really bad idea for Trump. It is a horrible idea. And there's a part of me that thinks DOJ is providing him this stuff this early to just be like, do it, go ahead. And basically dare him to bother witnesses. It's Trump. The way he typically handles situations like this is to start attacking and discrediting anybody he thinks is going to turn on him. His attorney should be advising against this behavior. It's Trump. He doesn't listen to his attorneys. That's part of the whole problem. I would imagine that we're going to get information we shouldn't know within the first handful of times he speaks live somewhere, because that's normally when he starts going through his grievances. I have a feeling that when he starts that process, some of the information he's not supposed to disclose is going to leak out. Or maybe his attorneys are smart and they're, I don't want to say not showing their client something, but maybe they are limiting his access as much as humanly possible to basically protect him from himself. This is the start of a process that has to occur before it goes to trial. Trump is entitled to basically have access to everything that DOJ might use against him. That's what this process is. My guess is that it's a pretty extensive amount of information. In this case in particular, I think there's going to be a lot of information. The reason I have repeatedly said, if it gets to that point, talking about trial, is because there still is the possibility that Trump changes his plea. He is a very, let's just call it self-assured person. So I don't expect that. I don't expect him to look for a deal, but it's still within the realm of possibility, especially if he is confronted in this discovery process with just loads of information and testimony and just a whole bunch of stuff that he is not going to be able to overcome. His attorneys might start advising that. But it's Trump, and he probably won't want to go down that route. We're going to have to wait and see. But this is really when you can expect the start of Trump trying to manage the situation, trying to play politics with it. Because up until now, he didn't really have access to much information. We're going to see if he adopts a different strategy here. Because typically, he would be on social media blasting anybody's name who he saw in this. He would be saying bad things about them. That is incredibly ill-advised, but that doesn't mean he's not going to do it. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.